Hello people, welcome back to Beauty Jam. It feels like ages since I filmed for this, but quarantine and all that happened and yeah, let's not even go there. It's been very hectic. So today I thought I would do a review kind of music thing. I don't normally do these, but I thought I would for Gaga, you know. So Lady Gaga released her new album, Chromatica, and I, for one, have been loving it. I've been loving this album. Now, before I get into like each individual song and blah blah blah, I suppose I should give you like a back story of me, you know. So I'm not like a monster or anything like that. I don't want anyone to think that I'm pretending to be a fan or anything, because I know that I'm not. I'm a casual listener, so I will give you a little bit of backstory. So, when Gaga first came out, which was 2008, 2009-ish, I think I was in year 9 at school, and she came out with like The Fame, and it was Just Dance and Poker Face and Paparazzi, that was another one. And I was all for it. I loved The Fame, you know. And I think that album was hit after hit. Like, every song could have been the single, the radio, like, it could have all been that. And I loved The Fame, I really did. Then she came out with, was it The Fame Monster Next? I think. And I think that one had, like, Bad Romance and Telephone on. And that was okay. But the album as a whole, I wasn't really a fan of. I liked the singles like Bad Romance and that, and I liked Beyonce and Telephone, and you know, and I liked Starstruck. Wait, was it? Yeah, I think it was Starstruck on that album. I liked a couple, but I didn't like the whole album like The Fame, you know. Then it was Born This Way. And I know this is quite controversial as such, but I didn't like Born This Way. I didn't like the album. I didn't, you know, I just thought, no, just my personal taste. The message of it and stuff, like, yes, you know. But as for the actual songs and the album, I didn't really like it. I just thought, okay, you know, fair enough. And coming off the back of The Fame Monster as well, like, I didn't really 100% like that album either. So this one was just kind of like, no. The only song I liked off Born This Way was Government Hooker, which I know sounds crazy, but that was the only song I really liked. And I know she'd got like Judas and she'd got Born This Way as the singles, and I just thought, it just wasn't my thing at all. So that was that. Then she comes out with Art Pop, which, can I just say, I loved Art Pop. Now, on the internet, Art Pop is apparently her worst album. I don't know why, because I think it was the best. Like, on par with it's on par with The Fame, Art Pop, right? And I loved Art Pop. I loved every song. I loved the drops, the EDM. I just loved everything about it. I loved Swine. I loved Aura. I loved Venus. Like, all of them. GUI. I loved them all, right? So then I was like, yes, this is the Gaga I know and love. This is what I want. I want more of this, you know? So I was like, okay, maybe, just maybe, as an artist, she had an experimental phase, you know, and then she's back to her pop and her fame, you know? So I was like, yes then, we're getting back to this, and I loved it. Then she comes out with Cheek to Cheek, which I don't really count as an album, right? Because I do think Cheek to Cheek was the experimental phase as well. She was experimenting with jazz, and it was more like that type of sound. It wasn't pop, you know. So Cheek to Cheek was a good album for a jazz album, you know. And she has got a very, very good voice for that type of music. If Gaga ever wanted to go into jazz, I think she'd be welcomed arms wide open, because she's very good at that. So Cheek to Cheek on its own is a very good album, you know. Then she comes out with Joanne, and I hated it. I'm going to hand on my heart say now, I did not like that album. It was worse than Born This Way and The Fame. I just didn't like it at all. Million Reasons, okay as the song, you know, and the whole piano thing that she had going on in that song, like Nice Message. And the single, the lead single, what was it called? Perfect Illusion. A rock kind of feel. Fair enough. If those songs were released on their own, they'd have been decent. But the album as a whole? No. So I was going back off of Gaga again. I was like, okay, she gave me the fame and it was good. Then it was a bit then it was art pop, and now it's a bit again. So I'd kind of like fluttered between different things. Now, when I heard she was releasing another album, I thought, here we go. It's going to, hopefully, because the trend so far has been, with me anyway, banger of an album, alright, banger of an album, alright, you know? So this next one should be a banger. I was like, please, let this be a banger. And guess what? Lo and behold, Chromatica gets released, and it's a flipping banger. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the pattern that Gaga goes in. With my pattern now, she'll release 2 alright albums, and then it'll be another banger. Honestly, you watch, right? So, Chromatica as a whole, the best I can explain it, it's like the Fame and art pop together, and it's brilliant, honestly. It's not quite as EDM as art pop, I don't think. It's not quite as poppy as the Fame. You do have a bit of a funk. It's funky. It's amazing. I love it. I honestly love it. So now that you know kind of like my history of Gaga with me anyway, I can kind of go into now. So the album starts with a Chromatica #1. Now these are just interludes. They're not like got lyrics or anything to them. They're just interludes. So I'm not going to really include them as such because there's nothing to really say about them as much. They're great at like entering into the next phase of the album, and it's a nice little interlude, but there's no lyrics to really talk about, so we'll move on. But that's how it opens. It opens with the Chromatica I, and then it moves into Alice. Now, when I first heard Alice, I didn't like it, but after living with it for a few, it's been 5 days, yeah. So after living with it for 5 days, I like it now. I like it. And basically the message of the song is like, her name's not Alice, but she's looking for Wonderland. And I think everyone can kind of relate to that because everyone's looking for their own version of Wonderland, you know. And some people haven't found it yet, and that's what she's saying. My name isn't Alice, but I'm looking for Wonderland. So I think everyone can relate to it. And there's like there's like not jazz. I'm gonna keep saying jazz now. There's like a funky. Dare I say club? I'll say club. I'll use that word. It's like a funky club type bop. That's it. There's like a bop to that song as she's singing over it, and I like it. Third song, Stupid Love, which was the single, I didn't like. Now, this is just it. When she released Stupid Love months ago, I heard it, I didn't like it. I listened to it a few more times to see if it's a grower, you know. And for me, it wasn't. I didn't like it. And it kind of put me off this next album because I thought, if the whole album is like this, I'm not going to like it. And I didn't want to think that. So, Stupid Love actually put me off listening to Chromatica in a way, but I listened to it anyway because you can't judge a whole album by one song, you know. So I will say, like, I didn't like Stupid Love, and I still don't. So, by the way, when I say I don't like something, I'm not saying that it's bad and terrible. I'm just saying that I personally didn't like it, you know. So, yeah, I just want to say that. I don't want anyone to think that I'm saying it's terrible and trash, you know, because I'm not. I'm just saying I personally didn't like it, right? Then you move into Rain on Me, which is with Ariana Grande. Now, I like Ariana Grande as well, so this for me was a big thing because I was like, oh my gosh, you got Gaga and Ariana, you know. It's kind of like if Nicki Minaj did a song with Gaga, which, by the way, I would absolutely love. Please, that happens one day. You know, it would be like, oh my gosh, you know. So, yes, I loved it. When I first listened to it, I was like, oh my life, this is what the album's going to be like. This is it. This is a single, you know. So I listened to the single, and I loved it. So I'd got one single that I didn't really like, and I'd got one single that was there, you know. So I was like, yes, then. And what I will say is Gaga's voice with Ariana's, like, it's difficult to explain, but Ariana's is so like smooth and light, you know, and then you've got Gaga's, which is quite dominant, and I don't know how to explain it, but you know, like Gaga's very like a dominant singer in a way, you know, with her voice, whereas Ariana's quite smooth and melodical, you know. But I think those two on one song actually works really well. By the way, I'm no good with music terminology. I've never done music, so I can't explain that better than that, you know. Then you move into Free Woman. Now, apart from Alice and Chromatica, this is where we start getting into the stuff that we haven't heard, because Stupid Love and Rain on Me were both singles, so I'd already heard them. Free Woman. Now, is it my favourite on the album? No, but it is a decent song, and I like the message of it, you know, because what I have noticed with music, pop music I should say, not music, because that's just such a range. What I have noticed with pop music, it's always about love and like being with someone, you know, but Gaga's kind of flipped that and said, you know, I'm a free woman and I'm still something without a man, you know. So I love the message, because I have noticed that with pop music it is usually about being in love and blah blah blah. Not every song, but just in general you do find that it's about that. And even the most popular songs like the Beatles and Elvis Presley, I'm trying to think of really popular, David Bowie not so much, but still it's usually centred around love, you know, and especially the Beatles. Oh my life. I don't even want to begin to list the songs that they talk about love in, you know. So, I liked how she flipped that and was like, you know what? No, I'm alright on my own, thanks. Now, we move into Fun Tonight. Fun Tonight isn't as much of a clubby song. It's kind of like, compared to the rest, it's kind of toned down. But the message of the song is very, very good. Now, I don't know whether I got the message right. This is just my interpretation of it. It sounds like well, I took it two ways. The first way was that she's in a relationship and she's still, like, he's kind of like criticising her or whatever, and there's problems, and to the point where she's no longer having fun, you know. It's kind of like a chore to now do this and be around this person and blah blah blah. That was the first way I took it. The second way I took it was that she's in like a bad place and people are perhaps trying to bring her out of her shell by doing this or doing that and doing the other and going here and going there, but even though they are fun things to do, she's not having fun because she's not happy within herself. Those were the two ways that I took it. Whether they're right, I don't know, but those were the two ways that I took it. And the message of that is very, very good, because sometimes when you see like your friend or someone suffering, you kind of, if you've never been through it yourself, you don't know, so you just kind of think, oh, let's go here, let's go there, let's do this, and you're having fun, so you imagine that they're having fun. But mental health is so much different than that, because even though you're doing something that you used to have fun doing and it is a fun thing to do, your mind kind of punishes you to not enjoy it because you're not feeling it, you know. And that's depression. That's just depression. You just don't find enjoyment in the things that you used to find fun. And that's just how it is. So that is kind of relatable to a lot of people, because I'm sure many people have felt like that. You know, and sometimes friends can get kind of frustrated with that, because it's kind of like, oh, well, you used to enjoy this, why aren't you enjoying it now, you know? But unless you've been there, I don't know, it's difficult to explain, but unless you have been there, it's difficult to understand how you can't enjoy something that you find fun, you know? So yeah, now, one thing I will say about this album is, you've kind of like got Chromatica I, which is like the first section, which I have noticed is full of like pain. You've got Rain on Me, you've got Alice, you've got Fun Tonight. You're technically Free Woman as well, you know, but it's kind of like very pain, like I'm going through something, you know. Now, we move into Chromatica II, which is another interlude, and what can I just say, Chromatica II to 911, that transition, oh my gosh, I lost it. I was like, oh my life, that is an amazing transition. It's like it's not even a separate song, but it is. Now, we move into Chromatica II. What I will say is this section of the album is very different to the first section. This section of the album is kind of like, sound-wise it's the same, but like the message-wise kind of changes, and it kind of flips to kind of a rebellious type, I'm gonna have fun type thing, which when you're going through something, those are the stages that you go through. First you go through like the sad, I don't want to say grief because that's the wrong word, but like the sad part, and then you go through like a rebellious phase where you start going out with your friends and you start doing all sorts of crazy things, and people say you're going off the rails, and that is just a part of it. So I noticed that it went through more to that. Now, 911, that was an amazing song. I loved that song because the message of it, I'm my biggest enemy, which is true. Everyone is your own biggest critic. Is that the quote? You're your own biggest critic? I don't know. But that's the quote, like you are your own worst enemy. So I loved that message. And also that kind of makes sense to start a rebellious phase, because it's kind of like, I'm my own worst enemy, so why am I holding back, you know? So I love that, and I just loved 911. If you haven't listened to it, definitely listen to 911, because that is the song, right? Well, I say that, I haven't got to the song yet. Then we move on to Plastic Doll, which personally I didn't really like, but I liked the message, but I didn't, it's a skip for me, really. But it's basically saying, I mean, she could be talking about men or women, you know, but she's basically saying, for men anyway, I'm not a plastic doll. I'm not here for your entertainment. I'm not, you can't dress me up and have me how you want me to be, because I'm not a plastic doll, you know? Which the message of the song is very, very good, but I just didn't like the song in general, you know, it was just kind of like a song. But the message I stand by, like 100%, yes, don't play with me because I'm not a plastic doll. So yeah, that message, very good. Then we move into Sour Candy. This is the song. Now I think she released this the day before Chromatica came out as a single, but I'm not 100% sure about that because I didn't hear it before I heard it with the album, so I can't be sure. But I think she did. This song is the song of the album, in my opinion. It's like close to 911, but this is the song. The beat, the deep house beat, I love those types of beats anyway, so that kind of hit me out of nowhere. Plus, I mean, I didn't know I didn't know who Blackpink were, but when I saw they were like a Korean girl band, I just thought, here we go, that's it, you know. So I'm not really into that type of music, so I was like, okay. But they killed it. I will say that, they absolutely killed it. I can't tell who's who. I can't even tell when the voice changes, but they killed it, you know. So, and Gaga's verse was very nice. It took me back to the Fame, really, the verse did, with the voice, you know the voice, you know the voice. Then we move on to Enigma, which in my opinion is a big jump from Sour Candy, to be honest. But I suppose it links in with the message, because Sour Candy is quite a sexy song, Sour Candy is. But Enigma's kind of how do I explain this? Enigma's kind of saying, I want to be with you, like I can be your enigma. And an enigma is a puzzle, as far as I'm aware. It's like a puzzle, means like something you gotta figure out, you know, like a puzzle. So Gaga's saying, I can be your enigma, which means I can be your puzzle, like yours, you know. So I took that as kind of like I don't just want to have friends with benefits, basically. I want more. That's the message I took from Enigma anyway. But the vocals on this, very, very good. I liked it. I liked it. Then we move into Replay, which this, in my opinion, goes better with Chromatica I because it's about hurt, you know. Basically saying that her mind's on replay. My mind on replay, I think, yeah. So, and you know what, everyone can relate to this, because have you ever done something or been somewhere or something's happened and you've embarrassed yourself or you've said the wrong thing or something and then you can't stop thinking about it? It's like your mind's on a replay, it's just going through everything again and what you could have said or what could have happened or you should have done this or just anything like that. And 9 times out of 10 you notice, well, you don't notice, but the things that you're thinking about and replaying, everybody else has forgot about. Let me tell you, everybody else has forgot about it. Because I do that. I do that when I was at high school, like I've done something embarrassing or something, and I still think about things like that to this day, and I feel the cringe come over me. Nobody else from high school is thinking about that, like, honest. So there's nothing to really worry about in that regard, but it can go deeper than that sometimes, and you can replay things that I don't know, are perhaps traumatic in a way. I don't know, but obviously it can go further than just cringe moments. It's, you know, so again, nice message. The song itself I didn't actually like. I didn't really like the EDM part of it, if you can call it that. I didn't really like it, but the message of it, Then we move into Chromatica 3, which is like the third part of the album. And this part of the album I've kind of concluded is about healing. So you kind of had your sad Chromatica 1 part, then you had like your rebellious, going crazy kind of middle bit, and then you have your healing, which is how, when you go through life and you go through something, that's how it goes. You usually have like a sad part, you're depressed, then you have your off the rails, going crazy part, and then you finally heal, you know. So we move into Sine from Above. Now Sine is spelled S-I-N-E, which I believe is a music term. I don't know what it is, but I do believe it's a music term. And this is with Elton John. Now I was very shocked when I saw that Elton John was on this album. I was like, what? The Elton John? Now I think that's a big move even for Gaga, to be honest. To have Elton John on your album is amazing, really. You can say that you've made it, you know. So yeah. No, this is a very good song. I liked it. I like the message of it. It's basically, I don't know whether she was praying or whether she was just asking for something, but she was basically saying that, you know, she asked for something. She said lightning, but I think lightning might be representative of something else. I don't know. But if she did ask for lightning, well, it would have come eventually, wouldn't it? But she asked for something and it didn't get given to her, so she had to kind of, I don't know, find it herself. And music, which is what the sign means, kind of saved her in that regard. That's the way I took it anyway. But I loved it. I think her voice and Elton John's voice together is very powerful, and I do like that. I did like the song. The ending of this track actually surprised me. I was like, oh my life, she's really gone for it here. It went proper like rave. Well, trance, yeah, trance as well, but like proper rave mode at the end. Then we move on to 1,000 Doves. Now again, the message of the song, it's basically about like, just give me a little bit of a push and I'll fly. I really will, because I've been flying all this time with broken arms, you know. So again, the message is kind of like a healing message, and I will fly like 1,000 doves if you just give me a little push, you know. The actual sound of this track didn't really do it for me, but I love the message of it, and yeah, I think it's a good song. I wouldn't skip it, but it wouldn't be my go-to either, if that makes sense. Now the last track on the album, which is called Babylon, now I thought she was going to go more Judas type thing and mention loads of biblical references, but she actually didn't. I think Babylon is basically, I think it's like a, I don't want to say metaphor, but like when somebody talks a lot, you can say that they're babbling on. So I think because the song is about gossiping, so I think that's what she's trying to say. She's trying to say like babble on, keep babbling on, you know. But also like Babylon in the Bible, I think that was when they changed all the languages. So everyone was talking a different language so that they couldn't build that stairway. Was it a stairway they were going to build or a temple? I don't know. They were going to build something and all the languages got changed. So you can technically say it's like a babble because everyone was talking a different language. So it's like babbling on, you know. So I think it was a good, like, double entendre. Is that the word? I think. Okay. Then we move into the international version because obviously I got the international. So track 17 is Love Me Right. I didn't like it. I'll be honest, I didn't like it. These I do count as bonus tracks now because they're not part of the actual album, but I didn't really like Love Me Right. I couldn't even really understand what she was saying in the chorus. I had to look it up on Genius because I didn't have a clue what she was saying. So I didn't really like it. And then the last track on the international is just 1,000 Doves again, but it's the piano version. Again, I do actually prefer the piano version, if I'm honest, because I feel like the message of that song is stronger and it gets across easier with piano than it does with like EDM, you know. So that is Chromatica as a whole. Those were my thoughts on it. I personally think it's Lady Gaga's best album to date. I can 100% say that. You know my history, so it's basically the fame and art pop together, and I'm here for that. I loved it. My favourite songs probably are Sour Candy, definitely. 911, definitely. I do really like Enigma, and I really like Babylon. And I like Sign from Above. Here we go. I like Sign from Above as well. But I think my top three would be Sour Candy, 911, and Babylon. I think Babylon, yeah. Because Babylon just like, it's something that everyone can relate to in a way, you know. So those would probably be my three. But I do love it. I love the album. If you haven't listened to Lady Gaga's album yet, I will leave links in the description below. Make sure to stream it and buy it and all that. Also, I want to say, I think it's her best cover art as well. I think it's her best cover art. I honestly do. I absolutely loved it. And this is coming from someone who was expecting not to like it because of Stupid Love, you know? So, yeah. So, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then make sure you give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of Lady Gaga's album. And what your top three are. Your top three songs. If you've got top three, that is. And, yeah. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure you subscribe for more videos from me. And I'll see you next time.